It's been a while since I've done a Verus phone farm mining video, and so today I just kind of want to do a quick update on what my phone farm looks like. The phones themselves are actually pretty much in their completed state, and so I am done expanding on phones. However, I am going to kind of talk about what my next expansion goals are. So if I just take a pan up here, what you're going to see is I've got 5 rows of 6 Samsung Galaxy A03s. And so this is giving us 30 phones, 120 mega hash to 144 mega hash, depending on heat, which right now that's netting us at the current difficulty around 1 to 1.1 Verus per day, which is working out really well. And in addition to that, we are running, as you can see, an Anker 60 watt, 6-port USB charger on each one. So each of these rows has its own designated power. Those are all running to a smart plug that is providing a on-off cycle of power every other hour. So what that means is every even hour we've got power on, charging phones. Every odd hour, power's completely off, and the phones are running on the battery only. And what that's doing is we also have battery protect mode turned on all the phones. And so we're essentially getting a discharge cycle for an hour, which these will run a lot longer than that on the battery mining. So that'll drop it down to about 40% or so. And then it will recharge itself the following hour up to 85%. Once it hits 85%, it will stop charging. And it'll basically trickle itself, on-off cycles to maintain that 85%. Following hour, it'll start to discharge itself again. Until then 1 hour later, it'll start recharging. So that's been working out super well. It makes judging power cost, power draw, a little bit difficult unless you look at it over a span of 24 hours, mainly because it's an on-off cycle, but it's working out really well for me. And as I mentioned, I'm done expanding the phones. However, what I did is I was going to run an additional row, but then I realized, based on the height I have here, you can see we're almost at the top. We've got about 2 inches, 1.5 to 2 inches of clearance that we can raise that up a little bit more if we needed to. But what you see down here, currently I've got this stand up on some 120 mil fans. But what we're going to be doing is we're going to be running 4 of these X300 chassis. So this is the X300, the X600 just got announced. Specs are up on ASRock's website, so we'll decide whether we're going to run the 3 or the 6. The only difference is AM4 platform versus AM5 platform. I've covered this specific chassis on my channel before. Essentially, it allows us to run a Ryzen 5900, which is a 12-core, 24-thread processor at 65 watts, as well as a single or dual fan GPU that is 200 millimeters or less in length. So that gets us either a 3060 Ti, a 4060 Ti, something within those ranges or below. Currently, I actually have a RX 562 gig in here, which is mining Vertcoin. But I'm able to put 4 of these wide instead of 6 phones. And so that's what I'm doing on the bottom layer here. And then the Connect shelf will sit on top of those. And then we'll have the phones up there. So each of these will actually get 30 mega hash on Verus on the CPU. So those 4, will be obtaining another 120 mega hash, which is basically the same hash rate as all the phones combined. We'll be getting from 4 of these units. However, the efficiency is going to be a lot less because we're looking at pretty much 4 times the power draw to run those. Pretty much the draw power of one of these is the power draw of all the phones combined, pretty much with our on-off cycles. But that will allow us to expand the Verus phone farm. It'll also allow us to have some GPUs sitting over here, which will be really nice because we are not fully utilizing this circuit that I am at. So that is kind of the completed Verus phone farm. I am running the CLI miner now. I think the last time I did a phone farm video was last year. I was running the GUI miner. I have since switched to an optimized CC miner. And based on heat, I'm averaging between 3.5 and 4.8 mega hash per phone. I have gotten these up to 4.8 with cool temps. You can run fans behind them. I am currently not running any fans on this setup at all. I have been kind of messing around thinking if I put these units in, I may actually put a fan towards the back blowing up to blow up some air. We'll see how that goes. I may or may not do that. The phones have been running solid. None of these phones have rebooted since June of last year. Actually, when I went away to Mining Disrupt conference. So really happy with the overall stability of the phones. They've been hashing away. Zero issues whatsoever. Been super happy with them. And so we're just going to let them keep churning away. We did have a little bit of battery bloat on a single phone, but that was mainly because it did not have the latest update that had battery protect. So I went ahead and enabled battery protect, discharged it, let it deswell a little bit. I think we'll be okay on that phone. Worst case scenario, I can replace that single phone if we do run into an issue. But all the other phones, there's no feeling of bloat or anything on them. So overall, super happy. But just wanted to provide you guys with an update of the Verus phone farm. And everything is, still hashing away. No issues whatsoever. Everything has been super stable. At this point, I'm not expanding out the phone farms. I'm actually focusing on these X300, kind of these ITX chassis, which are working out really well for my specific setup. They're not for everybody. You can only run one GPU in them. However, I've been very happy with them, and there'll definitely be some more content on those in the future. So stay tuned.